I will never forget Descendants and Zombies for the chance it provided me with, the chance to have my story seen and heard by more people than ever before. Many of us who are content creators on YouTube want that chance to happen for us, but it never really happens for every content creator because it's really a hit or miss. But it never was a hit or miss for me because you guys saw value in every video that I had the chance to create. Stories about how I wanted to be an action hero or a vampire slayer, or how I thought this happened to me or this may have happened to me, about vampires and werewolves. I love sharing these stories with you guys because they put smiles on your faces. And that's all I ever wanted to experience with you, and that's all I ever wanted to share with all of you, was this unbelievable story on this unforgettable journey that we've been on for what feels like forever for many of us. Because you couldn't help but feel connected to these franchises and these character stories. You couldn't help but feel a part of it and want to be a part of it and want more of it. Because every single time we come away from these conversations, you want more of them. You want more of Descendants and Zombies and what it's always meant to be represented through being. And I've loved being a part of it and sharing it with all of you. And I've never ever wanted you to forget me because of the legacy that I wanted to leave behind. I've always wanted, the story with me is I've always wanted to leave behind a legacy. And there were moments in my life that I never had any idea how I would ever leave that legacy behind. But I know I'm going to because of the love and support that all of you have had for every video that I've recorded about Kylie and Ruby and how much I valued their friendship, because there was always something special to take away from seeing the three of them together, Kylie, Malia, and Ruby. I can never get enough of it. And the one thing that I always thought about was that if I was friends with them, I would always be supportive of them and how far they have come, but yet how much further they have to go. I've loved being a part of this incredible journey. I've loved sharing stories with my opinions in them on Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella because they are some of the most precious classics that Disney ever told their versions of. Ever since 1951, Alice in Wonderland has been told so many times through the years, through the generations. No matter who we are, we all know who Alice in Wonderland is. We all know about that character. We also know about characters like Tinkerbell, and we know about characters like Cinderella because there have been so many different versions of these stories told. They were often darker versions of the stories. They were often stories that were misunderstood, but when it came to Disney's versions of these stories, you couldn't help but fall in love with them. I will never forget the first moment that I saw Cinderella and I fell head over heels in love with that character for her appreciation of friendships and how much she valued love and how she never quit on herself no matter how hard love was for her to find, until she fell under a magic spell and had until the stroke of midnight to find true love, and she found that in Prince Charming. Or how Alice's curiosity kind of would always get the better of her and she couldn't help but jump down through that rabbit hole like I feel like I did many years ago. I feel like I've fallen down through the proverbial rabbit hole and I've been meeting people ever since. And I have all of you to thank for always showing up here, clicking on my thumbnails, watching my videos, and allowing me the chance to share my story with you. A story I never imagined would have been taken so seriously and thousands of people would have loved so much. But because you love it so much, I dedicated the rest of my life to uploading videos about your favorite stars because I always wanted to say something nice. I always wanted to be that dedicated voice behind Descendants and Zombies that would encourage you that something special was about to happen and that we were all going to be a part of it. A favorite song, a premiere of a music video, a favorite character really evolving and coming into their own, having the torch passed to them, which I think we will eventually see for Descendants because we have Leomani Segura's character Pink coming into the franchise for the first time ever, and she has a really incredible story to share with the world, to share with everybody. And I'm really excited to see where we go from here with her character because I see fearlessness, I see strength, and I see power in Leomani Segura. She's very dedicated to this role. She's very excited to premiere as the character Pink, and I think the exemplification of sisterhood is really going to help us all put into perspective, how we have a relationship with our siblings sometimes that never really goes the way that we want it to, but at the end of every day, we love them even more. And we feel closer to that person because they're our sibling than we ever realized. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about Descendants and Zombies is it teaches us to value life and to appreciate things that just kind of happen for no apparent reason. And that's what's always been beautiful about me. That's what's always stood out. And I think that Descendants and Zombies is going to teach that for many years to come. My mom was a school teacher for over 30 years. She just passed away over 20 years ago. And she was a school teacher for years. And the one thing that she always did was go into that classroom every morning hoping to really teach people the value of appreciating life while putting smiles on people's faces. And I've kind of taken that with me in every video that I've ever recorded because I wanted to do the same thing. You know, I will never forget how over 25 years ago, both of my parents, my mom and dad, they looked at me and they said, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Dad thought that I should probably go out and get a job to better myself. My mom thought I should probably have a higher level of education, go to university and stuff, which I would eventually do. But the thing is, I always wanted to be something like a social media influencer, which in my generation a lot of people thought was really weird. You know, why does this guy want to be either a pro wrestler or a social media influencer, body slam people for the rest of his life, never really make a whole lot of money, or be a social media influencer where he would encourage people. I wanted to do that because I saw value in things like your favorite characters from Descendants and Zombies. I saw value in every dream a person had. And I remember looking at my mom saying, Mom, I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but even if I got to record YouTube videos out of your basement for the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to do. And lo and behold, people would eventually subscribe here. People would always have something special to take away from every video that I would go on to record. And I've had the time of my life, recording far more videos than I ever imagined possible about Descendants and Zombies, and sharing my thoughts on The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, which I actually watched the other day. And guys, to be honest with you, I cried my eyes out for the first time in about 15 years. I think at least every 5 years I watch Beauty and the Beast, or probably even more often than that, probably more than I've ever admitted to you. And the one thing I always took away from that was just how emotional of a story it actually was, and how there are far more people out there who think the same thing. There are people who criticize the story of Beauty and the Beast for how the Beast may have treated Belle early on, but 25 minutes into the movie, 25 minutes and 45 seconds precisely, he's giving her a more comfortable room. He's offering her something to eat. He's offering to keep her warm with the fire. He develops an understanding of what Belle wants. And that's really what is to be valued about the Beauty and the Beast franchise, is that they developed an understanding of each other. No matter how much it was criticized, they always loved each other, and they wanted to be a part of each other's lives no matter what sacrifices they had to make. And I think about Zed and Addison's relationship in the very first Zombies movie and how they really hit it off because they felt misunderstood. And both of them, even with how beautiful Addison was, she felt misunderstood. Zed was forever struggling with acceptance, but they saw acceptance and found that within each other. And that's why they were inseparable. That's why no matter what came their way, no matter what crossed their paths, they were always together. And I really found time in appreciating that. And I'm seeing the same thing happening for Victor and Nova, Freya Skye and Malachi Barton's characters, because not only do they have a relationship as characters on the set of Zombies, but they have a relationship off of camera too that makes them the best of friends, that seemingly have made them inseparable. And I see in a lot of people's social media posts how incredibly supportive they are of that, how they see value in that. So that makes what I've done as a YouTuber for over 25 years worth it every single time. Every single time that I may have ever pushed record, every single time that I've had a nice thought to share with you about Descendants and Zombies, how I thought this person may have been a vampire or that person may have been a werewolf. Again, trying to put smiles on all of your faces, because if you look at the description on Disney Plus, it refers to Descendants and Zombies as a sci-fi coming-of-age comedy, a drama, a romance, different things, everything all thrown into one. But it's a coming-of-age sci-fi comedy that I think a lot of people saw value in. I think that if this would have been a part of the generation of, say, Twilight and Vampire Diaries and True Blood, I think this really would have stood in a category of its own. And it probably would have surpassed how popular True Blood and the Vampire Diaries and Twilight would have been, because it attracted a generation of people that were very different, and obviously felt very differently about how passionate they felt about the characters from, say, Descendants. Because even though there have been so many different versions of Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland for, say, told over the last, 50 years, and different versions of the story rewritten time and time again, you always have your favorite version of it. You have a proverbial version of this story that you keep going back to, that you read 1,000 times over, that you can't help but want to be a part of, because you want to find true love yourself. You want to take a chance on something special, and you want to feel more connected and a part of a franchise than ever before. Let's be honest, we all do. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to give you hope that things like Descendants 5 and Zombies 5 were going to happen. Maybe not right away, maybe not for a very long time, but they were going to happen. And even if I had to sit here every day for the rest of my life for the next 3 years, I was going to encourage you that something special was about to happen, and we were all going to be a part of it, which we eventually became a part of because we felt connected to these franchises both on a professional level and on a personal level on times, because oftentimes the stories that we saw in Descendants of Zombies made us think of situations and stories of our own lives that made us feel connected to something special that we never wanted to be that far away from. I know that there was a bit of a gap in between Zombies 3 and Zombies 4 from 2022 to 2025, but it allowed for the development of a more powerful script and the introduction of new characters and the development of new music. Because you have to apply such things as character traits, and you have to write stories for these characters to kind of become introduced to us as part of these franchises. But the one thing I noticed about Freya was she was forever supportive of everybody who she worked with, and she was forever thankful for the opportunities that Nova Bright presented her with. I know there have been a lot of criticism about Freya's changing of the costume in Zombies 5 and her approach to this character for the upcoming Zombies 5, which is coming out in 2027, but give it time. I, for one, actually love the new costume update for Nova, and I'll talk about this more tonight. I actually love the updated costume of Nova. It's a stronger version of Nova. It's a coming-of-age kind of approach for Nova to take, a very different one from her previous introduction to the character, but I think she's really going to come into her own with this, and I think the music in Zombies 5 is going to be that incredible that it's going to blow our minds. I have every reason to believe that Zombies 5 is going to be a 5-star production that we are all going to have the chance to experience, that we're all going to have so much fun really living through. And the cool thing about it is, you're going to remember, when you watch Zombies 5, you're going to remember watching Zombies for the first time probably when you were 10 years old. And you're going to think about how much it meant to you to be a part of it, and how much this is going to mean to you being a part of it when you're probably 17. Because a lot of you are really going to come of age of yourselves, and you're really going to think back on times that you spent with your friends, your family, at events like the Worlds Collide Tour, and it's going to make it that much more fun and that much more uplifting to have the chance to experience. Because I remember being a fan of Lizzie McGuire years ago, and when I heard about the talks of the reboot in 2020 being canceled, I was kind of depressed because I was a huge fan of Hilary Duff. Seeing her become a stronger person, kind of put herself first, was a huge move for her to have made by 2025, 2026. But seeing her really come into her own was something I really appreciated. Seeing Miley Cyrus become the person that she eventually evolved into and came from, that was incredible too in its own right. Because I remember being a fan of people like Miley and Hillary years ago. And 20 years from now, I would love to have these same conversations with people who feel the same way about people like Kylie and Freya, because all that remains is for us to give them a chance and believe in them more than ever before, especially these new members of the cast who are playing characters like Sandy and Vera and Pearl, who are mermaids, very different characters who we may have never thought 7.5 years ago would have ever had a chance to be a part of the Zombies franchise. But if you kind of give them a chance and also welcome them into your lives, I promise you will have no regrets. And you will always have something special to take away from a franchise as valuable and as valued as what Descendants of Zombies, especially Zombies, has become over the last at least 10 years. It's really hard to believe that a decade has come and gone since Descendants of Zombies became a part of our lives, and a very valued part of our lives at that. But it has happened. And I think that no matter who we are, we think of this story differently, and we all feel differently about it. And again, as I've said many times, that's what creates diversity. That's what's always created diversity, and that's what's always made this so special for thousands of people. And I've loved being a part of it with all of you, because I not only had the chance to share my perspective on this story, my take on it, but I had the chance of meeting all of you, because you guys welcomed me into your lives as the dedicated voice of Descendants of Zombies, who thought that this upcoming duet from Freya and Malachi was going to be one of the most beautiful duets we had ever seen since Ain't No Doubt About It, or Gotta Find It Where I Belong from Zombies 2. Because Gotta Find It Where I Belong from Zombies 2 was one of the most powerful duets that I had ever heard in my life. And I remember, falling in love with that song, because that really showed how much Zed and Addison really appreciated and thought of each other. And I think that through songs like Dream Come True and upcoming ballads that we're going to hear in Zombies 5, they're going to be more powerful because their story is going to go that much deeper. And as it goes much deeper, they're going to fall more in love. Because in order for people to fall in love, they have to understand each other better. They have to go that much deeper. They have to ask questions they probably never asked in previous relationships. So in order for them to fall in love and to share in that emotional kiss, they've really got to understand each other. And understand each other in ways that we've never had the chance to before. So thank you so much for all the love and support that you have shown these videos, and thank you so much for always showing up here and always loving Descendants of Zombies with all of your heart. I have loved being a part of this incredible journey, and honestly guys, I've never wanted to let go, and I've never wanted to say goodbye. So from no matter where you're listening to these videos or from wherever you hear my voice, thank you so much for always loving these videos with all of your heart and showing so much love and support for Descendants of Zombies like you have from the very beginning, because many of you have been with me from the very beginning, and I can never seem to put into words just how appreciative I am of all of you. Thank you so much for trusting in Descendants of Zombies with all of your heart, and thank you so much for always and forever being with me. I will return just after sunset tonight for a conversation once again about Descendants of Zombies that I can only hope that you're going to join me for. Thank you so much for always and forever holding a very special place in your heart for this channel, and thank you for so much always believing in me, because I could have never done this without any of you. Keep a very special place in your hearts always and forever for Descendants of Zombies, and we will pick this conversation up right from where we left it off tonight, just after sunset. And I hope you will join me for that conversation. Keep always trusting and believing in Descendants of Zombies with all of your heart, because these moments have brought us that much closer together and made us the best of friends. And always and forever believe in yourself, because your dreams and your hopes are always what's mattered, and you are only one you in this lifetime. And that's what's forever and always mattered and been so special about life, and made so special what I've done as a YouTuber. Worth it every single time. Thank you so much for believing in Descendants of Zombies with all your heart, and thank you as always for having watched these videos.